The night was thick with tension and fear, much like the war-torn world around me. I was a boy, thrusted into the uniform of a soldier by the German war machine, stationed on the front lines in Eastern Europe during the Second World War. Stripped from the comfort of home life, torn away from our families. Our mission was painted as simple: secure the area, gather intelligence, and hold our ground against the enemy, and hopefully return home. Little did I know that a new and unimaginable terror awaited me in those haunted woods. It was a moonless night, and the darkness was suffocating. As we patrolled the perimeter, paranoid whispers circulated among the men, tales of a mysterious figure that haunted these woods. They called it der Schattenmann, the Shadow Man. Amongst the true dangers, we dismissed it as a fairy tale, a manifestation of fear and exhaustion, but others spoke with a hint of genuine terror in their voices. One evening, my senior officer posted me on guard near the edge of the forest. A bone-chilling coldness suddenly enveloped me. Eyes peeled, scanning the woods. I could hear the distant sound of leaves rustling, as if an invisible presence drew near. My instincts screamed at me to run, to escape this nightmare, but my pride compelled me to stand my ground. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of movement. I turned my head slowly, and there it was. A tall, slender figure, dressed in a black suit, its pale face devoid of features. My heart pounded in my chest, and I held my breath as I stared into the abyss of its soulless eyes. Fear paralyzed me as the figure glided towards me, its movements eerily graceful. The darkness seemed to cling to its form, as if it were an extension of the night itself. It was unlike anything I had ever seen, defying the laws of nature and logic. My trembling hand reached for my rifle, but it felt as heavy as stone. Panic surged through my veins, the weight of the war and this supernatural encounter pressing upon me. I desperately tried to pull the trigger, but my finger refused to obey. The figure drew closer, its presence suffocating, suffusing the air with a malevolent energy. A soft whisper, barely audible, echoed around me, as if 1,000 voices whispered in unison. It spoke in a language unknown to me, sending shivers down my spine. I felt a surge of terror and an overwhelming urge to flee, to abandon my post and escape this nightmarish encounter. But then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure vanished. The forest returned to its eerie silence, and I was left alone, shaken to my core. I questioned my sanity, wondering if the horrors of war had finally taken their toll on my mind. In the days that followed, I shared my encounter with my comrades, expecting ridicule or disbelief. To my surprise, some of them confessed to similar experiences, each one more terrifying than the last. We never spoke of it again, fearing that even acknowledging its existence would invite its return. As the war raged on, the memory of that encounter stayed with me, a haunting reminder of the horrors that lurked beyond the realm of human comprehension. Der Schattenmann, in all its enigmatic forms, became a symbol of the inexplicable terrors we faced during those dark times. I always considered myself a rational person. I had a stable job, a small but cozy apartment, and a modest circle of friends, all things deemed by society as normal. I forced my life to revolve around routine and predictability, and I reveled in it. 26 years old, I supposedly had everything together in the eyes of the people that surrounded me. Until the nightmares began. The dreams were relentless, each night more vivid and unsettling than the last. I found myself wandering through a dark, foreboding forest, my footsteps muffled by a thick carpet of fallen leaves. A sense of dread weighed down on me as I moved deeper into the woods, sickly but not overwhelming. Instinctively, I could almost say I was drawn to it. Like the feeling of a child clambering over to shove his hand on the hot stove, I could feel the danger. In these dreams, I was not alone. There was always a presence. It felt dangerous, but not malevolent. It was almost like we were equally intrigued about the presence of each other. Lurking just beyond the edge of my vision was a tall and slender figure with long, shadowy limbs. I was never able to make direct contact with the entity I shared my dreams with. Its face was a featureless void, a dark void that seemed to absorb what little light we shared. I couldn't see its eyes, but I could feel them, cold and unfeeling, boring into my very soul. Night after night, I awoke in a cold sweat, adrenaline pumping through my shaking limbs, unable to dismiss the feeling something was terribly wrong. I was convinced the regular encounters with this creature in my dreams weren't a coincidence. The stress and anxiety bled over from the dream time into the waking world. My productivity was shot, a strain was placed on my relationships, and always in the back of my mind, I felt the gaze of the entity in my dreams, each glimpse drawing me further into their nightmarish depths. As the weeks passed, the line between dreams and reality began to blur. The fear of another encounter forced a routine of caffeine and stimulus-based distraction. My adrenal glands had put it in overtime. No more feelings of anxiety, just a mild depression and a sense of impending doom. I'd catch flickers of the creature in my peripheral vision during the day. It would stand at the edge of the street, just beyond the window of the bus I rode to work, or in the shadows of the park on the way home. It was always there, watching, waiting. I couldn't confide in anyone about my growing obsession with this creature. Friends and family would think I was losing my mind, and if they thought that, they were right. I decided to take matters into my own hands, confront the source of my torment, and put an end to the nightmares. Sleep-deprived, unprepared, and borderline schizophrenic, I ventured into the very forest that had become the setting of my recurring dreams. Armed with a flashlight, a kitchen knife, fear, desperation, and determination, the forest was eerily silent, save for the distant chirping of crickets and the rustling of leaves from the gusts of wind causing a breeze. My footsteps were heavy with uncertainty. Every step I dragged myself, I simultaneously felt more encumbered. It felt as if the instinctual fear of all my past ancestors attempted to drag me back into the light as I pushed deeper into the woods. The memories of my dreams guided me, leading me to a clearing I had visited countless times in my sleep. It was there that I saw it, a tall, dark figure standing amidst the trees. It was real, and it was here. My pulse quickened as I approached, the flashlight beam trembling in my hand. The creature remained motionless, its presence unsettling and undeniable. I could feel its eyes on me, piercing through the darkness, and it filled me with a bone-deep terror. "Who are you?" I demanded. "What do you want from me?" No answer. Almost frozen in time, the wind stopped, the crickets ceased, and my ears rang with the silence of the forest. Its shadowy form seemed to elongate, stretching towards me like a predatory cat. My instincts kicked in, and I turned to flee, dropping my blade, but it was too late. A long, bony tendril wrapped around my ankle, and I fell to the ground with a cry of pain. Struggling against the creature's grip was like trying to break free from an iron vice. Panic coursed through my veins as I realized that this was it. I was to become a victim of the demon that haunts my dreams, foolishly playing into its cards, attracted to my own demise. But something unexpected happened. From the darkness emerged a figure I hadn't seen in years, my childhood friend, Josh. He rushed forward, swinging a thick branch like a weapon, striking the Slender Man with all his might. The creature let out an inhuman screech and released its grip on me. "Run, now," Josh yelled, and I needed no further encouragement. I scrambled to my feet and sprinted away from the clearing, but Josh wasn't beside me. I didn't stop until I was far from the forest, my breaths coming in ragged gasps. Collapsed onto the ground, shaken and exhausted. I can admit this now. I'm a coward. I did not venture back into those woods and look for Josh. I didn't contact the authorities. I didn't even tell his family about his disappearance. As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the disappearance of Josh became more speculative. Only I knew the truth. I'd heard 1,000,001 stories, but none of them as harrowing as the actual reality. In the process of my guilt, I learned more about Josh's own obsession with the entity. He had lost his younger sister to the creature years ago, a fact he had kept hidden. His guilt and determination to prevent more innocent lives from being taken by the entity had driven him to become a relentless investigator of the supernatural. 10 years later, and here I am, about to delve back into the same woods that have fueled my nightmares. Wish me luck.